Two unemployed actors. Two unemployed actors. They're just between.
Welcome back to Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we have a great show for you today.
Of course.
Talking about the boring bits. Now, before you switch off, boring bits as in what to do when you're not on set. And I know with the COVID lockdown, there's plenty of time to spend alone thinking about what it was like and reminiscing about life on set in the past, distant past. So what can we be doing to help sharpen up our bits and pieces to make sure that when everything is go and where auditions are coming in and set life is returning, we're primed and ready to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yes.
And what we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
And someone was on set recently. It wasn't Fred.
It was me.
So it'll be interesting to find out what you've been up to. So I guess to start off, because it's very apparent like that with not a lot, I mean, I've been doing voiceovers. Oh, I can't get my words out. Don't be that person today. I've been doing lots of voiceovers lately, and that's great. So it's kept me in that sort of acting and sort of tech space as well. But I thought it's time for a refresh. So as this episode goes out into the atmosphere, the podcasting world, our rebrand is launched. So I've been doing lots of exciting things like HTML and CSS coding and stuff.
I can't wait.
Had a micro sleep just then. But it's actually fun. I enjoy that bit. But it's the boring stuff behind the scenes. It's the boring stuff behind the scenes that makes it sort of work, brings it all together. So it made me think there's stuff that we need to do as actors to have in our little toolkit. You know, the headshots and that sort of stuff. But things like, for me, like updating the show reel. Have I added... do I want to do a self-tape and make it fresh in a certain... Like, put some more drama in?
Yeah, sure.
Or, have I added my latest work? No, I haven't. I have to put the interrogation in.
No.
Maybe it's a TVC or it's a short film.
Yeah, sure.
Or even just to re-edit it, to keep it fresh and have a cut-down version you can chuck on social. So there's stuff you can do when work's not coming in that can really help.
Sure.
And update the profiles. Okay, here's the profiles updated last week. IMDb. I actually did that on Friday with extra photos, so you can check it out and see how amazing it is. Yeah. Or isn't. Showcast and casting networks. A couple of Australian databases that are used to cast, and agents certainly said you need those as a minimum.
100%.
And a lot of the auditions, I mean, I got an audition for Thursday, which came through on email, but normally it's through one of those two platforms. YouTube, Vimeo, my socials, make sure they're all up to date. Voices.com is something extra for me because I do voices.
He's better than everyone.
Because I'm different. So like when you start to list them, it's like, gosh, there's so much you have to do now.
Yeah, half of it's business though. Business side of it. There's a business side of acting, you know.
And you just got to make sure that, you know, you're available, like you're easy to find online. And when they do find your website or whatever it is, you're absolutely up to date.
Yeah,
you know, all the links work. And
yeah. If you want to be the first link when someone searches your name.
Yes, and for good reasons, not when you got arrested or any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's got to be good. I mean, either one's exposure, isn't it? Anything's exposure.
Not all publicity is good publicity.
At least I know who you are.
In the new world of virtue signaling, you'll be called out for all sorts of stuff.
Oh, no.
New headshots. I actually thought I might go and get some new headshots because I use Sally Flegg photography.
Yes.
Subtle plug there. You're welcome, Sally. And I know just last week, all these actors that I was following, were there and getting fresh headshots, or at least publicising their latest headshots through Sally Flegg. Cool. And I'm like, oh, that just reminds me, I've got to get in there. And I'm thinking more like, because I've got, out of the last lot, certainly I've been doing lots of the businessman, policeman, father. That's great. But maybe it's time to do, you know, the criminal, get the hoodie, do a darker shot.
Yeah,
shadow across the face. Look at more character shots is what I'm trying to say. Because the ones I've got are helping me to sort of get roles that are kind of familiar to me.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to get in and have a few, like 3 or 4 different sort of character shots just to make it a bit more real.
Yeah, sure.
And a bit more diversity on my platforms. Update the CV. Oh, that was a fun one because I've got my CV in, for some reason, I do it in Adobe, I think. Yeah. And so I move it all around, line them all up, and I'm a bit of a I like to get the
Neat freak.
details right, correct. Yeah, and it's got to be in line and lots of stuff. I put the grid lines on.
I recently added.
I mean, that is the boring bit of the boring bit of updating CV.
True. I recently added a bio to my Showcast, so you can add your a bio PDF that people can download or look at. So I recently added one of those good 2 or 3 paragraphs of just about me.
Because sometimes you're right, they just want to print out that and a headshot, and then there you go, and there's a whole stack for whoever.
That's perfect.
And if it
Showcast
helps,
is a good,
even if it helps once to get a role, it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. There
So
we
yes, update CVs and the old make sure you've got a few headshot copies in your bag, along with a couple of copies of your CVs. I've been there several times where, have you got a CV or headshot? And yeah, here's both, And other people still stand there going, that's what I should have done.
Yeah.
I should have listened to Two Unemployed Actors, taken notes and actioned it.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't be standing here.
Oh, yeah.
Website. I've got to do my personal website update this week. Based on feedback of it looking like it's from the 90s. I need to refresh it.
Unlike you.
I'm from the 70s, but
Yeah.
no, I've got to update it. So I've got to make that, and I've got this photo that I like as the landing page.
Okay.
So it's the page you get to first, and then there's just 2 buttons: voiceovers, acting.
Perfect.
So you can just go, because I'm trying to fit. How do I fit voiceovers in with the? And it's like, no, just give them, because there's 2 different needs. So then you can have the voices done the way that you need to, particularly your voice demos and work stuff up, and then the acting one, obviously, links to showreel and blah and blah.
Perfect.
That's happening this week. Business cards. So because when things are normal, things being the world of the pandemic, when it's normal, there's lots of face-to-face stuff, right? You're going to premieres, you're going to Q&As, you're out there networking. It's still that old school stuff of face-to-face. And the business cards have sort of helped both with the podcast, because on one side is the podcast and it's got a chip in it. And on the other side, it's me, the actor, and voiceovers, and here's my contact number. And the chip is so that when you tap it against NFC, it can go to wherever you want it to go.
Yeah.
So even though I've handed out a lot of cards, I can go online and change where that link goes to.
Oh, that's very cool.
It is cool, isn't it? So there's little bits and pieces to make it a bit... Yeah, my life is so much more interesting.
Yeah.
They really would want to hack me.
How many did you get? How many did you buy?
I think I bought a couple hundred. I can't remember. I've still got a few left. I don't mean to get new ones, but it's like, I'm just going to make sure that I'm making sure... it's just it's a different way for people to remember you.
Yeah.
And even if I'm talking about the podcast, and it's like, well, here, don't worry about Googling it later. Just tap that and it'll take you to the podcast, which is how it's currently set up. But it's just, it's another way to remember you. And if it's a situation where you don't want to pull out your headshot, and someone's about to write in their phone, so here, look, just take that.
Well, that's very cool, because they could make, that business card company could make a lot more money by not allowing you to do that.
What do you mean?
Well, if you can't change the link, then you'd have to buy more with the new link. If
I
you did
see what
something
you're
else.
saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do, but it's kind of it's worked out quite well. I know. I was talking to a director
Hopefully
that I
they're not
work
listening
with.
to this.
No, I was talking to a director I worked with a while ago, and he said, because I was working on a second project with him, and he said, "Oh, Maxie, I'll tell you what happened the other day. I put my phone down, and I was chatting to the girlfriend, and the phone lit up and went to your website." And I realised I'd put it on top of a pile of business cards, and one of them was yours. So it kind of freaked me out. It's like, wait, Max has got control of my phone, and he's telling me something.
Cool.
It was a bit weird, but anyway. But hey, it works.
So you just put it on top, and it automatically takes.
Yeah, you just tap it against your NFC phone, and it takes you to wherever the link is. So at the moment, you tap it, and it'll take you to the latest episode of the podcast.
Oh, that's very cool.
Which is basically the landing page, because it has the latest episode and the YouTube in there.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's something different. And people, that's what people say, like, what? What? It's got a what? And you've got to actually say, tap to get to the latest episode of the podcast under the Two Unemployed Actors podcast, because there's otherwise you wouldn't know.
No one would know,
it looks like a normal business card.
That's very cool.
And I don't expect them to remember, even though I'm very important.
Yes.
In my own world. So yes, and then acting stuff, actual on your feet.
Yeah.
Practicing stuff like accents for me, standard American, and I know from my acting coach who is American. My accent coach. My God, how many coaches do I have in the team?
So
and she said that even in America, a lot of American actors are being called back to do ADR in a standard American dialect. So it's certainly something that is the standard and you should have.
I've heard that as well.
A UK accent like RP, because I know mine's not good enough. I know sometimes I can't hear all of my imperfections, but I have been told very much it's a work in progress, so I need to keep practicing that.
Okay.
Because I think that's kind of what you need to have as a minimum.
Well, talking about actually getting up and acting, I was on set again on Saturday.
Yay. Because I follow you on social media, I knew that.
Yes, it was
a great
a
photo.
surprise for you. Yeah, thank you. So it was cool. It was for a shoot. So I was contacted through Star Now. I didn't apply. I was just contacted by someone.
Star Now. There's another platform you need to update.
Star Now is another platform. If you've got a good Star Now, it can get you a lot while you're not getting much from your agent.
How could I forget? And yes, people contacting you direct.
Yeah, you just got to, you can't just rely on one person. Go and get stuff yourself and be on all the platforms, promote yourself.
Hustle.
Yeah, and just get those...
Hustle, people.
Contacts and connections with other people, because then you get called back and do stuff. Anyway, I was contacted through Star Now from this guy with a YouTube channel of 3 million subscribers. It's a motivational YouTube channel. It's called Fearless Motivation. Okay. It's a plug there. And they kind of just put up videos to motivate you. It seems like one of those gym ones, but not all gym. Anyway,
right. I know what you mean now.
Yeah, and this guy contacted me, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? I got paid for it as well, so that was great. And it ended up being filmed at Sydney Props.
Oh,
so in the studio, so I actually got to film in one of the studios. So it's about kind of an alcoholic, drunk, abusive father, and he has 2 sons who are twins. So I played both of them, which is really cool. My first kind of that idea, which was really fun. And so there was a younger version of me, teen version, and then an adult version.
Right.
So 3 different actors doing that. And it's just about how no matter what your upbringing, no matter about nurture or environment, you can go on separate paths. So one twin is doing well, he's successful. The other one's gone down a dark track of drugs and stealing. But this one's gone this way.
And they're both
got the same
so
it's about that idea. It doesn't matter. You can be motivated to do other stuff. So I got to play both of them. I got to be like, try to break into cars and like drink on the street and then other stuff.
And pretend you didn't know how to break into a car, even though
Actually, I found it interesting because I wasn't given the script. I was just kind of told what to do just before we started shooting.
Yeah, okay.
And I found it easier to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
Because you're just told then and you just do it. You just act, but you're not acting because you're just doing it. And it looks more real. And then I thought back, I was like, well, that's kind of what happened with Not Today. Because yes, I got the script. I knew what was happening, but you don't really know how it's going to look and what's going to... And I find it, I was talking to Jess about this, I find it easier and less nerve-wracking and less tense being on set with crew and a camera in my face than doing a self-tape with a camera in my face.
Yeah.
It must be more natural. It must be something almost like when you're like, okay, I have to do self-tape for this script. You know that you're going to be sitting in front of a camera on a chair or something, or standing. You know how the setup's going to look like. If you've got a script for a show or a film or something on set, you don't really. There's this unexpected nature, and all you have to do is concentrate on the acting.
And it depends on the format and stuff too. Like I know some actors like John Voight. When he got that character in. Well, it's how he works normally, but particularly referenced his character in Ray Donovan, where he would go to work early to be on set and just to sit down in the set that's dressed to be his home and walk around, take a few books off the bookshelf, sit in the chair, turn the lights on and off, that sort of thing, because then it's something... It's like, the more prepared you are, and obviously he would know his lines and who his character is and who he's talking to, etc. And the given circumstances, it's just being as comfortable as you can in that environment because then you know where the light switch is. You're not thinking about, oh my God, now I've got to flick this off. How do I, or, when I'm walking, what feels more comfortable or you've done all that. So with all that prep, you can actually relax in and be in the moment. Yeah. So there's that side of it too.
Exactly. And I believe that, at least with me, but I believe that you can go too far with that.
Yeah.
So obviously there's one side of the spectrum where you're not prepared at all. You don't know your lines. You don't know anything. Hence you're going to be stressed no matter what.
Yep.
And it's going to look shit.
Yeah.
But then there's another route you can go where you can be almost too comfortable. I know that for use of a better phrase, too comfortable where you're overthinking it.
Yep.
You're like, can I do better with this? It becomes a black hole. You can like keep trying to do different things, or you're overthinking it. You can see the cogs moving. You're acting, and you don't want to look like you're acting.
And
I think there's that sweet spot where you're comfortable, you know
Yeah.
your lines,
Yeah.
but then you've got the freedom to do instinctual things.
Yeah. I think for me, it's different for every project too. Like I can't sort of say, well, this
Yeah.
is how I'll do it. When I get to here, I have to stop preparing to be too over prepared because,
Yeah.
like,
No,
look at me
no.
purposely trying to be under prepared on the script side of
Sure.
it for the play because it's so physical.
Yeah.
But then other projects, like you look at actors who spent a year developing a character.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, sure.
or others that prefer it's comedy and they like to learn the lines, but also have the ability to be a bit more flexible on the delivery of certain,
Yeah,
and have a few different
sure.
alternatives up their sleeves,
Sure.
and feel that in the moment, like what feels
Yeah.
funny, and that's what I'll deliver, sort of thing.
There's that level of unexpectedness, I guess, where you kind of need that because, it's meant to look like the first time it's happening.
Yep.
Unless it's not, but usually it is. So that's why a lot of first takes, I guess, can be good ones, really great
True.
ones, because it's very instinctual and it works differently for everyone. I believe, I agree with you that you can't really be over prepared, but
Yeah.
maybe overthinking.
Yeah.
100% you can
Yeah,
be overthinking,
yeah,
and I think
yeah.
that's a dangerous area to be in, especially for me at least.
Because it's hard. I mean, when you think about it, you know, like in a day, you could be doing one scene, and there's 5 or 6 takes per.
Yeah.
Could be 5 or 6 takes per setup, and
Yeah.
there might be 4 different camera setups where you've done it 20 bloody times.
You got to
or so,
keep
you
it
know.
fresh every
It's
time.
yeah.
Same with theatre, like professional Broadway productions are on for months. You're doing like 800 shows.
It's so sad though that they're
Not
not
800
now.
shows.
I know
Maybe
they
800
tried to. I believe they were going to reopen shortly.
800 shows, probably not 100, maybe 200 shows.
I don't know. I am so far from a Broadway singer. But I think they were going to open shortly, I believe. And then with the flare-up again of COVID in the US, they've now postponed everything until next year on Broadway.
Yeah. Well,
Sad note.
on the note of Broadway musicals, Hamilton has come out on Disney+, whoever has that. Hamilton is the massive musical, won so many awards, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It's huge.
I've now watched it twice on Disney+.
Right.
I had a screening with some friends to watch it, and it's
Okay.
if you haven't seen it, go see it. You know, the first time I heard about Hamilton, people would describe it to me. They'd be like, "Yeah, it's R&B and rap." And for me, at least, I'm not a big fan of rap. And it's not just R&B and rap. There's music, and the choreography is awesome. The staging is awesome. The storytelling is awesome. The writing is amazing. You know, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote the lyrics, the music, and just wrote it, also plays Alexander Hamilton, the lead. He put himself in it, and it's just so cleverly written. It's probably the only rap I'll ever enjoy, and because it's very intellectual rap. It's like, and it's musical theatre, and it's amazing. You should watch it, Hamilton.
So in Australia, it's on Disney Plus. And what else are you watching?
What else am I
What
watching?
else? Like
what if we?
Put you on the spot.
No, Jess and I finished The Politician.
Uh-huh.
Season 2 of The Politician, which is great. I think season 2 is actually better than season 1.
Okay.
We both agree on that. So that's a cool one. That's on Netflix.
There's so much drama in real politics at the moment.
Yeah,
Look at the
yeah.
US.
That's
With
true.
Trump, it's like every tweet's a drama.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like how you make fictional politics more interesting,
Yeah.
more crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the last series of House of Cards, the writers are like, we'd think of it, we look at the TV, and then like, oh my God, it's even worse in real
Yeah,
life.
well, it's so stylistic. It's quite stylistic,
Right,
actually, and
okay.
it's they Ben Platt plays the lead, who was Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen, and he's really, really good. And it's just it's all a bit crazy. Like, they do amp up the intensity and almost stupidity of politics at times. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but it's a great show. It's great, and I started Warrior Nun.
Warrior Nun.
Warrior Nun.
Okay.
I was just looking through Netflix for a new show,
Right.
and I found this show called Warrior Nun, and it's set in Spain, but I think it's American. There I think the lead, she's a Spanish American actress, and
She's a crime-fighting nun?
it's supernatural. It's pretty cool.
Oh, well, supernatural ones.
It's
okay.
pretty
So
cool.
she fights evil spirits.
Pretty spot on.
Yep.
I've only watched one episode, but
Okay.
seems good.
Okay.
I'm still watching Supernatural as well.
Right, right.
That's 15
Going
seasons.
through your ghosty phase?
I've always been in that phase.
Supernatural,
Never leaving it.
spooky. Do you
Never
read
leaving
Stephen King? Do you like It and all that sort of stuff? Or
I
is that
actually,
less-
so I watched the new remake of It. I tried to watch it on,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, the remake of It. And I watched it tried to watch it on a plane ride home, and I got bored. Like, it wasn't that scary. It was just really odd.
Okay.
And weird.
Mm.
And Stephen King's awesome. I like a lot of his stuff, but maybe it was just the remake. I haven't seen the old one, but the remake, at least for me, wasn't scary. It's kind of just got a bit tedious.
Okay.
Why?
Boom.
Do you
Take
like
that.
it? Do you like it?
No, I'm not particularly.
I'm
not
never
the
working
target
with. I'm
market,
never
but
working with
it's
Stephen
kind of-
King now.
It's kind of. I don't know. I mean, it's okay. It is what it is. Like, I mean, there were a few jump scares in it for me, but that's, you know.
Yeah.
And the
it's meant to be one of the
makeup and
scariest.
special effects is pretty awesome.
I think the acting and the makeup's very cool. Yeah.
Mm.
But when I was a kid, like, mum and dad would always say, like, go watch that when you get a girlfriend, go watch that, and
And scare the hell out of
it'll
her.
be
And
so
that'll be the last time you see
scary.
it.
You know, you'll need each other, and I'll be like, it's not that scary. It's not that scary.
That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. You know why? It's because of all our CGI and because of all our developments in makeup and all that stuff. I think we have scarier movies, scary ideas.
But
at
you
least.
just can't lose sight of the fact that you need a good story.
Oh, yeah.
I watched The Wretched last week.
Haven't heard of it.
Yeah, skip it. Look, it was. Look,
What is it, Netflix?
It has great special effects, and yes, there's a few jump scares. On Foxtel, but I think you can look at it, get it on Google Play or Amazon or something.
Okay.
As a movie to rent or buy. And I don't know. I mean, the special effects were great. It was great, but you just can't move away from the fact that you just need a really good story as well. You need to anchor in a really good story.
Yeah, you do.
Because there's also really good, scary movies that don't have a lot of blood and gore and special effects that are scary the way they deal with building up the suspense.
I think having something more real, like realistic, is scarier because it's closer to home. It's more relatable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I couldn't relate to anything in Hereditary, and I found that absolutely scary. I
really?
went to the cinema, quiet cinema. There's no kids, nothing, and just some of the scenes were just scary because it would lure you into this sense of, okay, everything that's happening is pretty normal. It's your average sort of setup, and that whatever that scene is. And then you'd be suddenly, the switch would flick and it'd be to the extraordinary, and it'd be like, what just happened? And some really scary moments, the bit where she's moving across the ceiling and stuff, and what they find in the attic, and scary. And it was a really interesting story.
well, that's in a sense you can relate.
Funny enough,
a
I saw
little
it
bit.
twice.
Oh no, you can relate because it's like attic, scary, dark, whatever, instead of just outright ridiculous, and you're like, I can't really understand why. You know, that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see how that could be.
Interesting. Well, I found a really interesting series in Australia on Amazon Prime, British American, called Terror, about the two ships that left Britain to go through the Arctic. This is in the mid 1800s. In the mid 1800s, and they get stuck in the ice. They're an exploratory crew, so they're going to find a passage to shortcut to North America, etc.
This isn't Titanic.
No, it's worse, and it's based on a true story, which is also adds some gravitas.
What's it called?
It's
What's
scary.
it called again?
Terror.
And it's a show,
I'm
a TV show.
a television series. I'm sort of halfway through that, and that's really holding my interest.
Oh.
And you're learning a lot about the history of the time and what it's. Oh, it's definitely not a documentary, but a lot of quality, great British actors who are very much familiar to me in it. And I just think, look, it's all come together to be. It's interesting because of the premise.
Yeah, right.
They're stuck in the Arctic, hundreds of men. When does the food run out? What happens when the leaders aren't respected? Who's this 2IC? Is he going to step up and be in charge? And how's his style going to jar with the crew? And like, you got the people in a group isolated in an extreme situation.
Yeah, okay.
You've got other things that happen, like other players that sort of come into it, other characters that sort of come into it to add another angle to it all. And you've got, polar bears and all the usual environmental stuff that can add scares and that really did take lives at the time. It's just like there's just so much going on. And I'm also learning about the history. It's a hell of a way to do it, but it was really, really full on. Some of the episodes were pretty scary. Others were just really informative. Like, it was really interesting what happened and how it happened.
Yeah, right.
So, yes, a hell of a way to make history interesting. But I've had a couple of misses on movies, The Wretched being one of them.
Yeah.
And nothing really memorable of late that I've watched in the movie world.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I mean, there's not a lot's been pushed back. Like, the cinemas only opened last week in Australia.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is stuff that was on just before it was cancelled, like Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, really?
David Copperfield. Because a lot of new stuff.
Is the David Copperfield one where he, is it a documentary on him? Is that what that is?
I don't know what it is. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah,
It's not really my cup of tea.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
the point is, a lot of productions launches have been pushed back. You look at Quiet Place, No Time to Die were a couple of big ones.
Yeah.
And August and I think November, respectively, for those two. But because of the whole global COVID thing, because the model has moved from a regional to a more global launch date, as technology's caught up, we know when things are being marketed in America in England, and so launching at the same time globally is a big thing.
Yeah, okay.
And it's easier to spend your marketing dollars globally all at once rather than regionally each step at a time. So you can get more efficiency and more of an effective launch for your marketing dollars by doing a global launch.
Okay.
So if your key markets like North America, for example, are under severe lockdown for the second time and cinemas aren't open or people aren't just wanting to go to the cinema, you're not going to want to launch right about now. And it's like the Titanic. You can't move it on a dime. You've got to make these decisions that take 6 months to implement. You can't just go, wait, it's all good now. Let's launch tomorrow. So I think what's happened is we're back in the cinemas, but we're just waiting for stuff to drop. We're just waiting for stuff to drop now.
100%.
And that's okay. So it's been quiet, and I've been enjoying catching up on some series and looking like Terror was written up in a magazine. I sort of read it, and the guy who writes reviews there, I kind of identify with. You know how you find your guy or your girl, and it's kind of like everything they recommend is kind of wow, yeah, spot on, and you're willing to take a punt on some stuff. Like I really, because Amazon Prime, I got to watch Kate Mulvaney in. The Al Pacino one. Don't tell me I've forgotten that.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
You've told me before.
Sorry, Kate. And also Little Fires Everywhere, which was an amazing series. Yeah. Reese Witherspoon produced it. Her production company is just buying book rights left, right and centre. It's amazing. But which was really good. Little Fires Everywhere. There you go. There's another one to watch. And then I hadn't really gone back to Amazon Prime much. Mind you, I've got so many frigging apps. It's hard to keep track now what's where and what I haven't seen and stuff. But then in the write-up it was, oh, look, it's really out of left field, but it's really great, the drama, the way it's portrayed, the effects, plus it's a true story. Okay. And I'm like, okay, it's piqued my interest. And otherwise I wouldn't have given it a shot. Yeah, right, okay. That's the other thing that comes to the boring bits on my list. I was like, read prolifically, watch a lot.
Yes.
Apart from, doing a social media plan, that sort of stuff, working through scenes and monologues. But yeah, watching stuff and keeping current, like especially like for us, we want to work in the Australian industry. What are your top 5 Australian shows? Like what about the difference between show A and show B? Like whether you love them or not, you've got to know them because you're going to end up hopefully in the room with some of the creatives. Yeah. At some point. Yeah. You want to be able to think. Yeah, okay, let's go. You want to be able to
Animal
be on your
Kingdom,
feet.
Palm Beach.
Television series.
More series.
All of the above. Because I go
some Home and Away, I'm Neighbours.
Easier for me to do theatre and then series.
Yeah.
But theatre and then films than TV series. But yeah, I mean, it's just something you need to know if you want to work in the business. If you want to know and work with these people, at least be familiar with the work.
You just got to know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Grant says that a lot as well.
Yeah. You want to live in this world. So earn your place. So there's lots of stuff. There's lots of segues to everything. It's all sort of tied together today.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get to work on set again. Well, look, it feels normal. I feel great just being able to get an audition from the agent and go. And it's a company that I've worked with before. So, and it's, you've got to have your lines all sorted out. And I looked at it going, I've only got a few days, blah, blah, blah. 3 lines, I'll be okay. If I stumble, if I that up, I do not deserve to be on that.
To be an actor.
So, so like, I'm looking forward to that. But just getting the audition, it's like, oh yes, we're starting to come back to some sort of normal now, where we're auditioning face to face again. Yeah, it's good. Wow. So, but like, if it's slow where you are, or what you're doing, don't worry. Put your nervous energy into something constructive, like any of the multiple bits and pieces on the list, and I'll put it on our Facebook page when the episode goes live, just so you can see what I've been doing, and maybe some of it will gel to you, or you'll go, wow, I need to do a website, or yes, headshots, that's right, it's time. No time like now. And then when the opportunities do come, you're easy to find and you've got all the right tools to make it work, to make that opportunity
Like always,
go
be
less
prepared.
from luck and more to skill.
Yeah. Don't wait
It's
for
a
it.
good little speech. I might put that on a bumper sticker, that little...
Do it.
Less,
the whole thing.
turn your opportunity, less luck, more skill. More skill, less luck. I don't know. I'll come up with this. This is why I'm not advertising. I'm better on reading other people's words.
Yeah.
Some actors are better with a script. That's me.
Yeah, just me too.
Anyway, on that
think
note,
it's
have you got anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it. For
How about
me,
you, Fred? Nope, he's
Freddie?
chasing shadows.
How about you?
Say something, Fred. No, he doesn't trust you. Neither do I.
Fair enough.
I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we're Two Unemployed Actors. We will be with you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All your favourite podcast platforms. We're on YouTube. See you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Two unemployed actors.